I think everybody plays the best off of examples. We can sit here and we can talk about all the things that we do and don't do and all the different services that we offer. But what is one good example that you could take away and tell us a story about how we can be an all-inclusive service for them?
Sure. I think, as I look at the history of what I've done and been involved with, one example of that would be I had a situation where there was a father who had passed away, and we had worked with that family prior to his death. And in his will, through our planning, had constructed some trust to benefit the surviving spouse. And so we had been working with the surviving spouse for a number of years and helping with that trust, the investment management, making sure the family assets were there to take care of her. And as she started aging, we began to work with her children because they started needing to help their mom some more. And in that process of helping their children, one of their kids came to us and said, I'm considering changing investment advisors. Do y'all have anybody that you could recommend? And in reality, that is what we do. We do investment advising. So when he asked us, who can you recommend for an investment advisor, the greatest recommendation I can give is First Financial Trust, because that is what we do. And so we started talking through that, having that conversation with this child, and he was an adult at that time, but just discussing the breadth of services. And so we started down the path of looking at his investment portfolio as he had now, discussing how we invest differently, how maybe we would change what he's doing, particularly as he was getting closer to retirement age, and ultimately look to investing for him and his future and his family's future. And through that, those conversations continued to evolve and even started to change so that we started working with him on estate planning. And so now we're in the second generation with this family talking about estate planning for his spouse and for his kids when someday he may pass away. And so the breadth of what we do is not just trust, it's not just investments, investment advisory services. It is the full thing, all inside the First Financial Trust umbrella.
Yeah, and I think another thing that plays off of that when it comes to financial advising would be, a lot of people think that they have to have a certain amount of wealth to be a part of First Financial Trust, or they don't think they have enough, or they think that they have to be assimilated with the bank, or they have to be, there's all these different scenarios of reasons why not to contact, right? And the one thing I always tell people in that perspective is, the phone call doesn't cost you anything.
That's right.
The meeting doesn't cost you anything. A second opinion is what we're here to offer. If you've already got a financial advisor that you're working with and you're kind of on the fence of switching, or if you've never worked with a financial advisor before, the question is always going to be lingering until you pick up that phone call and make the call, because we're here to offer that first service at no additional charge, because we only charge on what we actually manage. So I think one of the big things that we're wanting to take away from that is a question of, what do you feel like is, I don't feel like age is a number. I don't feel like there's an account that's a number, but what would be your advice to someone that's on the fence of calling a financial institution like First Financial Trust to get that guidance?
I think you hit the nail on the head. Ultimately, we're in the advising business, and so we do what we do because we love helping, working with, and assisting people create financial solutions. And so I would just say, if you have the question, if you have doubts about where you're at, if you're concerned about future opportunities or things that you could do better, pick up the phone and call us, because if nothing else, we'd get to meet you, we'd get to interact with you and make a new friend, even if what we do doesn't fit what you need. But I would dare to say that there's a lot of opportunity that most people that come into our doors, there's something that we can help them with, some way that we can better their situation and provide the type of solution that would fit better for them. And so if there's ever doubt, the call doesn't cost any money, the meeting doesn't cost anything but a little bit of time, but in the process, we get to have some good conversation and fellowship and, potentially create better solutions for you in your future.
Yeah. And I would also say to that point, everybody wants their business. Everybody wants to do business with each other. But I would say one thing that I've loved that has distinguished us is that if we can't serve you in any capacity, it doesn't mean we're not going to help you find the options.
That's right.
That are available to you.